All right, folks, as promised, here by popular demand is the season overview of my farm system. You can see it is ranked second overall. We have 5 prospects in the top 100, including the number 1 overall prospect, Sean Treadwell. And this is for entering the 2033 season. For anybody who might not be watching this as part of the playlist and is out of order, I have $24 million dedicated to my player development budget. And of course, I don't devote money to the draft or international free agent in my budget because it takes away from my money for next year when that might not be my same amounts. But I will, of course, be spending money in both those areas with my budget money that I have left over, just not specifically divvied up to that. So anyways, let's go to the prospect pipeline because that's the best way to get the deepest dive on the farm system. And let's go ahead and start with the pitchers. My top pitching prospect is the 28th prospect in baseball, Alex Vidales. He's only 17 years old, international free agent signing in 2032, and looks like he could be a stud, but he's so far away, man. Like, especially with pitchers, like so much can happen between now and then. I'm not even sure I'm going to promote him to rookie ball this year, but I might. And then we've got Bobby Robinson, who is in Frederick, 21 years old, 3rd round pick from 2030, 40th overall prospect in baseball. He pitched in Frederick last year, and honestly, I'm going to have him there again. And the reason is his walks. His control could be his downfall, why he doesn't develop. And last, I thought I went full. Oh, gotcha. Okay. Sorry, that pop-up confused me. Last year, he struck out 6.1 per 9, and he walked 6.2. So the relative to AA says, he might be ready for it, 50 overall. But show me something in high A ball first. Got to get those walks down some. It's amazing that he still put up 1.6 WAR with that many walks. So hopefully he will be able to show a step forward this year. And then we go outside of the top 100. We've got Christian Moore, who's in AAA, could see some time on the major league roster soon. Still has some growing to do. He's only thrown 44 innings in AAA, but our first round supplemental pick, 33rd overall in 2030. He's 24. Certainly could be in our plans in the future. Brandon Peebles is going to need to show us more than he did in his rookie year in rookie ball, 2032, 37th overall, and he is the number 111th prospect in baseball. Willie Salazar was an international free agent signing. He's 19. He didn't do much in rookie ball. He's got a long way to go, but he's number 182, got a high ceiling. And then we've got Lorena here, who was a scouting discovery in 2030, and he's going to be in short season A. Doesn't really look like a great prospect to me, but he's in the top 500. Sacco Vogt is on our roster this year. He's in our bullpen. He's 25 years old. Dave Coep is a possible ace reliever that we got in one of our offseason trades. I believe the Ethan Weinberger one. And then we've also got Juan Gomez, who is just 16 years old, was a scouting discovery in 2032 and could be maybe an average major league piece for us if he hits his ceiling. Mike Benjamin is a possible guy who could be on the scene for us at some point in Baltimore sometime soon. The rest of these guys, let's see, Pat Eves is another guy who could be like a depth bullpen piece. The rest of these guys are so far away and are really going to have to make strides forward to get on the radar. So that's the pitching. Catcher, I don't have anybody in the top 500, and I'm going to need to do something about this because I just realized that I have 4 catchers in AAA and they're my top 4 catching prospect. The main guy here is Telma Pradas. He is, this guy could start for me with his catcher ability in the majors, and I think he probably will once my current catchers get too expensive in arbitration, as long as his bat turns out okay. And so that's him. He's probably going to spend a lot of time on Major League roster the next few seasons. The rest of these guys, Hard, DeLucia, and Palomino, we'll see. Great catcher ability. We'll see what happens with the bat. Hard was a disaster in AAA last year with the bat. So these are kind of guys who could be great defensive options, but I'm just not sure their bat's going to get them there. De Lucia has put up decent numbers in AA last year. His league average with the bat. He'll get his first taste of AAA. Former 17th round pick. That's why sometimes just catcher ability in some of those rounds where there's no one to pick, just pick guys with great catcher ability and hope their bats come along, because his bat has certainly improved since I drafted him. So, but I think Pradas is the main story there. The rest of those guys, not sure at this point. Here, the number 26 prospect in baseball, Jose Mestas, who is in A-ball this year and is looking like Bob Maldonado Jr. Not sure I want him playing first base. I mean, whatever. If I have to have a terrible fielding first baseman, I will, but I'd rather have somebody a little more competent and put him at DH. But he hasn't, I mean, he hit the cover off the ball in rookie ball in his first 76 plate appearances, then spent about a year and a half in short season A and didn't do that well based off of his pedigree, but he'll be in A-ball this year. Hopefully he'll start to knock the cover off the ball and be up pushing Bob for a job within a few years. And then Jake Stovall. Jake is a second round pick from 2027, drafted as a third baseman. I think that's where he'll play. He just needs to show me more at the bat in AAA, basically, and he could get a shot at third base if we get an opening there. But he's certainly not a superstar level guy. Colgate is a former first round pick who just hasn't shown anything with the bat yet. He's still 2028 first-round pick, only 23. There's still time for him to develop, but not looking like a high-ceiling player. Sergio Serra is a guy in Norfolk who could be a depth piece for us the next few years, and that's about it for first base. Moving to second, we've got Sean Treadwell, the number one prospect in baseball, 29th overall pick in 2031. He can play second base, he can play some first base, and then probably left and right field based off of his outfield ratings. He didn't do much in rookie ball for about a season and a half, so I bumped him up to Aberdeen in low A ball, and he just destroyed the ball for 79 in only 79 plate appearances. But he'll, as a 20-year-old, almost 21, start the year in A ball in Delmarva, who's going to have a good team between him and Maestas and a couple other guys. Esposito is a guy who could certainly get some playing time for us up at second base if we end up with a need there. And he was one of those offseason trades. Let's see, anybody else really? Not a lot more going on here at second base. Crowley was a recent draft pick who could develop. He's still quite young in rookie ball. St. Flores, very young. And Esquivel is pretty young. But pretty much I think Treadwell's the headliner here, then Esposito, then the rest of the guys are just kind of depth. And moving on to third base, we've got, of course, Stovall and Colgate from the first base depth charts are probably more third base than second base. But Tim Beinog is listed as third base, and I'm not sure that's where he play. I think second base would be his home. First round pick, 15th overall, 2030. He's the number 61 prospect in baseball. Hasn't done a lot with the bat yet, but hasn't been terrible. And he will start the year in A-ball in Delmarva, who again should be stacked. I'm interested to see what that team does. And then this guy, Matthew Chiappo, he's just 16. I mean, scouting discovery in the offseason looks like a pretty good discovery by my scout, but we'll see. He's so young. A lot could happen between now and when he reaches the majors with young Matthew there. Eads is a depth piece who could see time at the majors. Same thing with Cordera. Not a lot else going on there at the moment. Moving to shortstop, Nick Camper is our top-ranked shortstop prospect, number 124 overall, a recent draft pick in the 6th round, 2032. Did not do much in rookie ball, but his glove's coming along. Hopefully he can, with this range, he can definitely play short and second well. That arm is a little weak. I'm not going to be able to put him in third. And he can play corner outfield with that range and that arm. So looking like maybe a second, short, left, right utility type guy. But his bat needs to come along, though. He's still quite young. But anybody who has that kind of glove and can play shortstop is gonna be an interesting prospect. And then this guy, not even sure who he is, to be honest. Al De Leon. Oh, he's a discovery by my scout last year. International Complex. Listed as a shortstop with a 55 range. That won't cut it at short. 60 arm. I could maybe put him at third base, depending on his bat. But definitely second base will be his home. And maybe could fake it in left and right field if we need him to. So he's an interesting guy. And then we've got Jose Carrillo, who we traded for in the offseason and competed for the utility infielder spot on the team, but got beat out by whoever my utility infielder is. I'm blanking on his name. Hold on, that's unacceptable, Pat. Enriquez, that's right, Enriquez. And so Carrillo, all glove, but we'll see what he does with his bat. He hasn't had a ton of time at AAA and was pretty bad in the time he was there. Also bad in just the 22 plate appearances he had in the majors. But a guy who I think will probably, he'll be in the running for a utility infield piece. And if I need a third baseman, like in a pinch, or a shortstop, he can play there but certainly not on a contender. I'm not going to have him be like the plan going into the season. Chris Murphy is a name that I think is interesting. Yeah, this guy's glove is good enough that if he can bring this bat along a little bit, like just a little bit, man. He's still just 21, third round pick from 2029, but he can play shortstop. Arm isn't amazing, double play isn't amazing, but with that range, that air rating, range is the thing I look for most in a shortstop. And he had a great season in 2032 at Delmarva, and then went to Frederick and was not that great. But we are going to start him at Double A at just 21 years old, so we'll see what happens. That's a name to keep in mind. Maybe not as a superstar, but as a contributor. The rest of these guys, not a lot interesting, I don't think. Chris Flo was our 9th round pick in 2029. Not sure at that 60 range he's going to play shortstop, but he could play an awesome third. He could be good at second. And shoot, he could play left and right field. So another guy, he had a great year in low A, so he'll start in Delmarva too on what's going to be a great team. And so that's Chris Flo. Those are my top 5 shortstop prospects. Always good to have shortstop prospects, which wish I was a little deeper there. And then outfield, of course, Jeff O'Brien made the team as my 4th outfielder this year. Mike Carras is a first-round pick from 2032, 30th overall. Hasn't done anything in rookie ball. His first year was worth negative 1.6 WAR in 65 games, so he'll start there again. And then Tim Baker's a really interesting guy. He's a two-way prospect. 50 potential stuff, 50 movement, 55 stamina, and he's pitched pretty well. I think in the end, his bat's too good to where I'll make him a corner outfielder. Not great range. I don't love that, but his bat looks like it could carry him. 2nd round pick, 2031. Tim Baker, a name to keep in mind for sure. And Mike Crowder, who are you, Mike? 2nd round pick, 2032. I mean, look, he's only 18, and look at that floor is so high already, according to my scout. And he did really well in rookie ball. He's going to be at short season A at just 18. He can play corner outfield well. He might be able to be your backup option in center field to give your center fielder a day off like twice a month, but you don't want him getting a lot of time there, and he can't play the infield. But with that bat, he could play in the corner outfield. And let's see, so we got Mike Crowder, and then we got Chris Henderson, who I honestly don't remember who he is. 6th round pick, 2031. Oh, and he can play center field, yeah. And his bat's been good in low A, so just based off of his glove and center field alone, he's a name to remember. Alex Nunez is another two-way player who I just don't think will cut it as a pitcher. I think eventually I'll have him as a corner outfielder, but he's knocked the cover off the ball in rookie ball last year and was actually okay pitching. Actually, no, he wasn't. He was pretty bad. And then after that, just some Trejo is an interesting guy. Arias is an all-glove guy who can't field. That'll probably hold him back. Here we've got this guy, Micah Grijalva, who is just a straight-up power hitter. And he's in AAA, 2nd round pick from 2029. He already freaking crushed it in AAA last year. 45 games, 3 WAR, a 213 WRC plus. If I didn't have such a stacked outfield in Baltimore, I'd have him up. I didn't want him there as my 5th outfielder, though. I want him to get more playing time there. But a guy who will probably be on my roster one way or another in the coming seasons. Correctman has huge power potential. He could make his way up at some point. Masonette is a guy who has a good bat, but just no glove in Norfolk. And some of these other guys are just far away. We'll see what happens. So, yeah, that's the farm system. I think I've covered all the positions, right? Yep. That's the 2nd best farm system in baseball. Please feel free to let me know whose jersey you're going to buy of what player in Delmarva that you're going to follow him on Twitter and buy his jersey and hopefully see him in Baltimore in a few years.